So Ginger, what really stood out about your investigation to me was the visual of seeing the side-by-side of the real airbag and then this counterfeit airbag.
It was heartbreaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To think that's what came out of the family's car. Imagine how he felt. Sarah Loughran's family came to us. She had been in an accident 2 days after they bought the car, and for months they could not figure out why the airbag did not deploy. And then the pictures that you're talking about is what they discover.
And in the counterfeit, it's just it's a shop rag, right?
It's
That's
a
stuffed
shop
in
rag.
there.
So, and you can see in some of the video, we showed a little bit of it, that's black putty and black tape, but when you really peel that back, there's actually white down in there. That's a shop rag.
Yeah. So this morning when I got into my car and I'm looking at my steering wheel and seeing the words, you know, airbag imprinted, and I think everyone that saw your story is like, is there a real airbag in there? I think that's kind of the takeaway. And you gave some advice, and I wrote it down last night, of what people can do to kind of check to make sure that their airbag is real. Don't check it yourself.
Right.
And is that simply because you don't want to tamper with it, right?
You don't want to tamper with it or disable it in any way. Let an expert look at it.
Right. Do your homework on vehicle background, get a diagnostic test, and take it to a dealer for a side-by-side comparison. Those were the ones that you gave last night. And I know we were talking that you've gotten even more advice kind of today when you've reached out to some experts in different things.
Yeah, we really appreciated hearing from so many of even the dealerships today. Mechanics and experts have come forward, and there's just always some information, as you know, we just can't get in the piece.
Right.
So there's a few more pieces of information I'd like to give along to anyone who's driving a used car and might have a question, and some websites. And the first website I think anyone should go to is NICB.org, and that's the National Insurance Crime Bureau. This is a free service, so that's great. You can check for to see if your vehicle has been stolen, and you can check to see if it has been salvaged by the insurance company. And Brian, what's so frightening here is if the Loughrans had done this, I want you to see what they would have found. First of all, as you put the VIN number into the website, it says this vehicle has not been listed in theft records. And then you're going to see right here under total loss record, this has been identified as a vehicle listed in the VinCheck salvage records. It lists the dates of collisions, and so there you see the two different dates this car was in a crash, and then here you go. You were advised to consult with a certified automotive technician before further considering this vehicle, to include verifying the airbag remains intact.
This information was available to them free. All they had to do was enter a VIN into the website.
Enter a VIN number into this National Insurance Crime Bureau, and that's what would have come up.
And it says airbag right there. It says verify the airbag.
Exactly, yes.
I know you have some other websites that you've kind of been looking into today that can kind of help people to check as well.
I think people should go to txdmv.gov. You and I have been there many times in our investigating. Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. We did that on this car. We did it for two reasons. You go to forms on that website. I would recommend anybody type in the form for VTR-275. This will give you a title history. It's the title and registration. I think there's two reasons for this. One, you want to make sure the one in your hands is not a counterfeit or a forged document. And then two, this will tell you every place the vehicle's been. And that is what we did in this case. And so we wanted it to come straight from state records. And then as you saw us, we went around and traced exactly all the different dealerships and locations that this had been at. And I think anyone who is driving one of these cars and might have a question about the airbag needs to do that, and then call all of those locations. Ask them about the car. Ask them what repairs they did.
You know, this is all something that people can do before they purchase a car, and it's something that they can get immediate. And so you could be at a dealership, you could do this in a couple hours and go back to the dealership and make your decision whether this is a car you want to buy or not.
It's funny that you bring that up, because one of the experts who's reached out to me since this story aired and is very interested in it and in talking about it on his show is Jerry Reynolds. You know his name. We often use him as a car expert around here. He has Car Pro Show, and he says that his best piece of advice to anyone buying a car is to go to autocheck.com. So there's my third website I would like people to check out, and that, again, autocheck.com, and it is backed by experience. This will help you research the car and the car's history. So similar to the other two, but yeah, if you're buying a car, why not go do all three of these things?
Right.
Or if you're driving a used car right now.
Yeah. So you got these three different websites. I know you also mentioned to take it to the dealer. Last night when you were talking with Doug had asked you, will these dealerships charge if you take it in and say, hey, take a look. Is my airbag working? Is it an actual airbag in there?
And I promised we would check on that for this segment. We have done that. We've only given them a few hours here, but we have reached out to several of the different dealerships and said, ask how much will it cost when you come in to do this. Moritz got back to us. They have several Kia dealerships here and a Chevy dealership, because you want to take it to the dealership that your car is from, or where the car was manufactured.
That's where the experts are.
Right, and they
know.
can do that side-by-side comparison. Moritz says it's hard to put a price on it. They're glad to do it. They want to do it. It's just going to depend on the in-depth of the inspection of that car, because every car is different. Some have several airbags, some just have a couple. But every expert we've talked to has highly recommended bringing it in. You know, Brian, as we sit here so close to our office, I look behind you and I cannot wait for the day I come back in and I say, we know who did this. I truly believe this case needs to become a criminal investigation. I wanted to figure out who did this.
I know that frustrated you on this, that you wanted to figure it out, but you're still working on it.
I'm still working on it. I know experts with a lot more muscle and power than me are still working on it. And again, there is some interest in this eventually becoming a criminal investigation, and we will be following it that way. But I look forward to the day I walk into that office behind us and say, Brian, there's been an arrest, because this family deserves that.